So today, in English this time for my English friends, as I promised the video, we'll be working on this one, the monolith, a big one. And I'm going to show you what that big pot was for that I bought. We're going to make a beef stew, and actually we'll be using part of what's just behind the neck, or just in the neck. We're using that meat, so it's, I think in English it's called chuck roast. So I got 3 lightning, well in Dutch we call them wokkels, just strapped up wood. So let's put them in here. So I usually take 3 hot spots, something like this. You don't really want to have any charcoal on top of them because then it starts to smoke. Just a little bit beneath them, in there, in there. That should be okay. And we light them up, and then in 15 minutes we can start cooking. It goes that quickly. The only thing you need to remember is keep the lid open. There's a down here that you need to open as well, where all the air comes in. If you do that, you're fine. So just to fill you in, we got some chuck roast, some butter, onions and garlic, 2 cloves of garlic, celeriac, carrots, some brown sugar, all-purpose flour, which is flour, some bay leaves, some cloves, and some juniper's, 3 and 4 cloves, and some beef stock. That's it for now. And a little bit about the what Monolith calls the fire pot. This is actually a pretty neat thing, and I haven't used it yet. But basically, you've got the lid. This is all cast iron. It's really heavy. But you can actually put this on a barbecue, heat it up, and use it as a grill. You can use this side as well if you want to make a sauce and caramelize some onions or whatever. So you can use that separately if you'd like. But of course, you can also use it as a lid. And then in here, we got 2 handles to lift up the lid. There's a small rack in here that allows you to put some water in there, and then you can steam vegetables if you'd like. We'll not be using this, so I'll take this out as well. We're just going to be using this to make our stew. So I think we're about 10 minutes in, not even 15. Starting to heat up nicely, so we can put in the, what also Monolith calls the grid system. So let me grab that. Let's put that in here, like so. So I got on one side a deflector sheet, because later on when the stew needs to be on there for a couple of hours, you don't want it to have it on top of the coal, so you want the deflector shield in there. And then we can already heat up this bad baby. And just put it in here, because this needs to be really good and hot in the beginning, because we need to caramelize chuck roast first, because that gives taste, and then later on we can just turn it around and we're good to go. So I actually lifted this up 1 level, so then I can turn this pot around later on, which is easier. So let's heat this baby up. So it's already getting to temperature. So let's put in the butter. And let that melt. So I closed this to about, what, 2 fingers wide, and at the bottom a thumbs wide. It should be hot enough now. I can actually hear it. So let's put in the beef. let's start to caramelize this. So it's really nice and hot. Let's take out the meat for now. Like so. It's all out. And then we'll be putting in our onions. And we can put the garlic in as well, because as long as we don't burn the garlic. So let's fry this for a sec. And close the lid because it's getting really hot. So those onions have been caramelizing a little bit. So now it's time to put in the flour. No, just the flour as yet. And the brown sugar. Let's stir this up a little bit so that we bake the flour just a bit. So then we don't get that cookie kind of taste to the food. So it's important to cook the flour just a little bit. Then we can add our veggies. We can put back the meat with all the juices that we have. Yeah, that fire pot is a 6-liter pot, so it's pretty big. Okay. Then we put in our stock. This is actually half a liter of beef stock and a 1/3 liter of red wine. So let's add that. Stir that a little bit. And then we add some of those spices that we had. So the cloves, the juniper's, and the bay leaves. And now I will let it cook for about an hour. And I think I'm gonna put the lid on anyways. So let's put this side on, like so. And then I'm gonna turn this baby so that's not above direct heat, like so. Then we're gonna close up that lid again. Close these up a little bit, and temperature is now about 250 degrees Celsius, almost 500 Fahrenheit, I guess. So we're closing it up a little bit because it should be around 250 Fahrenheit, 125 degrees Celsius, I guess, as long as it's above 100 Celsius, so that keeps cooking. That's it. So now we wait for, well, an hour, and then I come back because we need to add some gingerbread. Now, there's one thing I forgot because I didn't take it outside with me, and that is to add some salt and some pepper. So I already put some pepper and salt on the meat, but we need to season this as well. So I got some fleur de sel, which I really like, but you could use normal salt as well. And then some black pepper. You can be, I mean, it's a big pot, so add a good amount of black pepper. Stir it up a little bit. That's looking nice. So let's put this baby back on. Like so. And then let's wait. Okay, so it's going nicely. Whoops. I added some chestnut mushrooms. And now it's also time to add some gingerbread to the stew. This will dissolve completely, but make it a bit more sturdier. It gives off some taste, but also makes for a nice thick sauce in the end. Together with the flour that we already had. Just leave this in. I'm gonna put the lid back on. So it's already getting dark, so I had to turn on some light. So let's see. That's kind of okay. 160 degrees Celsius. That's fine. So let's open it up. So first let's take off the lid. Oh, that's looking awesome. Just giving it a little bit of stir. That is looking good. So I'm going to take this inside, and I got some stewed pears as well, and some mashed potato. So let's plate up. So taking that inside, and let's close this up. Close this one and the bottom one, and that means that it'll just go out. So there we are. I got some mashed potatoes, stewed pear, and a beef stew. I would say bon appetit.